After 10 hard-fought rounds in the 2013 Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series, it's time to crown champions in round 11. In Street Tuner, driver, teams, and manufacturers championships are still wide open. Lime Rock Park will host the season's final round, and it always breeds excitement and close racing. So who will claim the prize? Find out now on Fox Sports. Fox Sports welcoming you to the season finale for the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge, the Street Tuner category from Lime Rock Park. And championships are indeed on the line. It's cool, it is cloudy, and it's Grand Am Championship weekend here at Lime Rock. Welcome everyone, Brian Till along with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader, Chris Neville, Darren Law down in pit lane. And there's going to be plenty of action to talk about today, guys. I feel it for certain. When you look at the Drivers' Championship, it is close. 6 different driver combinations in the hunt for the championship. But Mike Lamara, Terry Borcheller, they hold down the point by 8 points over Kyle Gimple and then Ryan Eversley. Tyler Cook, Gregory LaFouche still have a shot at it. And then it goes from there. But all that brings us to is 3 burning questions when it comes to the championship. And it starts with, will Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamara be able to hang on to this championship lead, Calvin?
Well, Burton Racing, Brian, have certainly had a tremendous season. Started off badly at Daytona, 28th place finish there, but what a rebound. 2 victories on the year, 1 at Road Atlanta, 1 at the big one, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and 5 podium finishes have given him that lead. But it's 8 points, Dorsey, and it is tenuous with a lot of guys snapping at their heels.
Yeah, and will Gimple and Eversley get their first win and championship? Well, Kyle Gimple and Ryan Eversley are only 8 points back, but they haven't won a single race this year. That's very awkward going into a championship. If they should be able to win today, it would really help their situation. That would mean that Borcheller and Lamar would have to finish on the podium to stay alive.
Well, you guys talking about those 2, but what about the last question? Will a dark horse emerge? Take a look at the starting grid at the top of the screen. Remember, 6 different driver combinations have a shot at this, but it's Mike Lamar and Terry Borcheller who hold down the point. A lot of stories, and I'm sure a lot of anxiety down there on pit lane, Chris.
Yeah, Brian, it was just about 24 months ago that Mike Lamara and Terry Borcheller sat down to come up with a plan to win a Continental Tire Championship. And just 2 years later, 2 seasons later, they're on the cusp of winning that first championship. The first year they came out, they had all kinds of problems. Last year just didn't go the way they wanted to. And this year, like Calvin said, they had that engine failure at Daytona. That set them behind. And then a wheel bearing failure at Kansas, which put them once again back on the edge of winning this championship. 8 points now between them and Ryan Eversley, who's with Darren Law.
Okay, here with Ryan Eversley, and you guys have had a great season. It's been very consistent. You've had 4 podium finishes, but coming into the final race, we all know how tough Lime Rock is, and it's hard to pass. You guys are the only front-wheel drive car in the top 5 in points. Is that an advantage, a disadvantage? How's that going to help you get to the championship today?
You know, Honda gives us a great car from HPD, and we're really thankful for that. But having a front-wheel drive car at some tracks hurts you, like at Laguna, our last race, we didn't do so well. But here, we've been really strong, and I think that gives us a good opportunity to save our rear tires. Our pit stops are faster because we're only changing the front 2 tires. You're right, this is a track similar to Bristol for us. A lot of beating and banging, but for the points race, we couldn't be happier to be running up in the top 5 with all these rear-wheel drive cars with our little Honda.
All right, guys, there's some strategic differences there, so let's see how it goes.
Well, and last year, the top 5 cars were all front-wheel drive. Now, let's go to a place that Dorsey Schrader, I think, hangs out from time to time. Outer space, Dorsey, Google Earth.
Let's drop down out from outer space. As a matter of fact, you see Lime Rock between Boston and Hartford. Right here is one of the busiest road racing tracks there ever was built. 1.53 miles with 9 turns in it. I mean, what happens around here is that you never go slow. It's a high-speed racetrack where track position means everything. It's tough to pass, and there's a lot of argy-bargy, Calvin.
Certainly will be. It's frantic. I mean, it is action, action, action all of the way.
We'll have some onboard cameras for you today as well from Freedom Autosport. 2 of their Mazda MX-5s. First, the number 25, Derek Whitus on board, getting ready, cleaning that visor off. So he will have a good view, and his teammate in the number 26, Redodowski, And Odoski getting ready, and those two drivers have qualified well today. They're going to start 8th and 9th, so they're up towards the front of this 31-car field, and that's important around this racetrack. We talk about it being tight. It's difficult to pass.
It really is, and Odoski is certainly in with the threat for this championship as well. He sits quite a way back there, some 22 points out of the championship lead, but Borchella, Lamara, Eversley, and Gimble have problems. That really brings a whole batch of guys into the mix.
Field getting lined up and ready to go. One more pace lap, but take a look at the Continental Tire race analysis. 2.5 hours. Talked about 1.5 miles of very difficult little racetrack, 31 cars. And Mark Miller starts on the pole, and that's great news for CJ Wilson Racing. 3rd pole of the season for that team, first for Mark Miller.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of success and a lot of speed this year, Brian. Couple of wins, and they're looking to finish off the season on a high note. And there's a big manufacturers battle going on here today as well, with Mazda just 7 points out of the championship lead. They're looking for great things. They've bolstered their troops this weekend by adding a car to the Freedom Autosport ranks. So they're trying to beat these BMWs for the manufacturer's title.
And there's a look at the manufacturer points right there. BMW out on top. You're also looking at the number 23, the white BMW, Mike Lamara. That's our championship leader. They start back at 14th. That's a long way back, Dorsey.
Not at this racetrack, not too bad. I'll tell you what, Mark Miller, hats off. He did a 58-second lap, so we're talking sub-minute laps here. And, you know, as long as you stay clean, you can make up a lot of racetrack at this ground. You can also lose a lot if you have to make a pit stop.
Well, he had trouble keeping it clean in qualifying. He got attacked by one of those Freedom Autosport Mazdas down in turn 1, got clouded in the side, spun around. So he may have had a better qualifying slot if he'd been managed to survive that incident down in turn 1. But it's just a demonstration, really, that Lime Rock Park is tight, it's frantic, and it really gets tight on occasions in terms of these competitors. Even though we're running a single class, the ST cars running alone here this weekend, it should make it a little bit easier for these guys to keep a clear-cut run for the championship.
Well, the car that he made contact with, or that made contact with him, I should say, was one of the Freedom, one of the Freedom Autosport cars, and it was one of the extra cars that they brought in for just this round. So I'm sure they were going to kind of raise their eyebrows at that. You see the 171 from APR already on pit road. That's not good news for that team.
You know what? We've got 14 cars, the top 14 cars qualified within the same second. That's going to show you how crazy it is on a racetrack that you run around in 58 seconds to begin with. With all these corners, all these cars, it's going to be really, really difficult passing and running clean. I don't see it happening.
Lights off now on the pace car as Mark Miller will lead the field to the green. Outside, Jesse Combs, they have a shot at this championship, and they've got a great starting position up front. Miller, the first pole that he has earned this year, the 3rd for CJ Wilson Racing. As we talked about, it's Mazda versus BMW. As they look for the green, it is out. We are racing in the season finale at Lime Rock Park.
Look at this jostling there as Corey Fergus there down on the inside in the RSR Civic. He's looking for a way through in the red, white, and blue Civic there with the number 197. Nice and clean so far, but the Mazdas go to the front.
They call this first corner Big Bend. It's actually 2 corners. It's a 180. So you go in that bend for a long time, and they've got it sorted out. Nice job, boys.
On board right now, the number 26, Red Odoski, gets hung out to the outside of the only left-hand corner on the racetrack at the 77. Eric Curran slots through.
I was going to bring that point up. This is a backwards oval. It's all right-handers except that one left. There is elevation change, and this is the steepest uphill right here.
This is a great corner here, carrying a lot of speed through here. Remember, these Continental tires are not quite up to pressure or temperature right now, so the guys do have to be careful on these opening couple of laps.
Particularly since most of these cars are set up biased. What I mean by that, with all right-hand corners, they throw the weight to the other side, and with cold tires, the car really wants to pull heavy to the side it's loaded.
1 lap in the books for Mark Miller, nice and clean, and it's Mazda's running 1-2 up front right now. Tyler McQuarrie has picked up a position over Combs in that orange BMW, and now Corey Fergus in the red, white, and blue Honda beginning to move forward. On board the 25 with Derek Whitus.
Yeah, Corey Fergus up to 4, so a good opening lap here. He said, I have to be careful. We saw him just a moment ago before the green flag. He said, just got to be careful. We're getting a lot of understeer with this Civic, and that's just going to burn off those front tires. So he said, I want to get on the throttle. And he said, I'm a little bit impatient, but I've got to be patient around this bull ring of a racetrack here at Lime Rock.
Somebody else that wanted to get on the throttle was Kevin Gleason, but problems for the 171 before the green flag ever flew. Darren?
They came in and they didn't have full throttle. They had to come in, plug into the ECU, and clear a bunch of codes. I don't know if it worked. And you guys know electrical gremlins make it tough to find.
Great battle here between Cook and Fergus.
Look at this.
Side by side.
They commit the ultimate sin. They went side by side through the downhill. Watch the guys behind them drive right around them. You can't go side by side through the downhill and have the same momentum.
Capestro de Betz there getting a good run on them, Dorsey, as you suspected there. Having to defend down into turn 1.
You really have to play this like a chess game. The places you don't want to be slow is in the apex of that downhill. If you lift there and the guys behind you don't lift, well, they just drive right by you.
And Fergus not giving it up, slides back inside the 81. A little bit of contact, but the 81 continuing. Cook trying to hold his position, still side by side. Now Fergus gets through.
This racetrack's about momentum. You got to keep your momentum up, and you don't want to be caught being slow where you should be going fast. That's what I talk about. You don't want to get caught at the apex of the downhill and screw up your only straightaway, which isn't that straight or that long.
Through West Bend, Corey Fergus in the 197, the red, white, and blue Honda out in front, and he is being accosted by the 2 Bimmer World BMWs right behind.
Eric Curran there, a big move in the number 77. He's been drafted in for the weekend by the Compass 360 boys. Oh, the 75! Gets into Novich, I believe, down in the downhill. That's hairy stuff, one of the high-speed corners on this racetrack.
And again, the worst thing to do is go side by side. The right thing to do is back off the throttle and get a run at the guy. Pass him going down the straightaway. Don't do it in the corner.
And Kyle Gipple, remember, they are in the thick of this championship hunt. They are second. He got in there, made that contact. His job is to bring the car in one clean piece to his co-driver, Ryan Eversley, when they do that driver change, and roughing things up with only 4 laps in the books is not what you want to see.
And Dorsey, you talked about it. They're getting around this race circuit, even the ST cars, in under a minute. Now, if you have a penalty for avoidable contact, it's going to be a stop and hold for 60 seconds. So you'll go down at least a lap, maybe 2 if you're further back in the pack. You've got to be clean if you're one of these championship contenders. Look at this. Dives it down to the inside. Really, really difficult part to the racetrack to make that move. And Novich did a great job there of maintaining control of his race car.
Take a look again. Kyle Gimple in the 75 will look to the inside of the Honda at the downhill. Just not there.
Now look at this. Other than the crash, it almost did happen. And you see a little hand gesturing right there. Look behind him. How many cars are behind him? They could have just driven around him because of a simple error. Momentum, guys. Keep the momentum up.
And the driver that has the momentum right now, CJ Wilson, Mazda MX-5's out in front. Mark Miller from the pole leads early, but it's early here at Lime Rock Park. Only 5 laps in the books. A long way yet to go. Make sure you stay with us when we come back. Season finale of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. The Street Tuner category underway from Lime Rock Park, and Mark Miller still out in front, but very early in this contest. Only 15 minutes have passed since the green flag drop. We'll get you up to speed from the last break, and there has been plenty of action out on the racetrack on board the 26.
Bit of argy-bargy down in turn 1. Novich goes for a ride as well, and this is one of our championship contenders right here. Red Odarski involved.
And now a little more argy-bargy. Ray Mason in the 76.
Mark Pombo up over the curb in the 30 car. That team recovered from the early morning incident that Matthew had in the practice session to get the car repaired and get it back on track.
And this has been one of the best battles on the racetrack from the get-go.
And the cleanest.
Yeah, and the cleanest. Combs out in front in the 56, leading right now over Tyler Cook in the 81, but these 2 BMWs have been going at it. Mark Miller, though, out in front since the drop of the green, and for CJ Wilson, they're looking for another victory this year. Chris?
And Brian, CJ Wilson is on the mound tonight in Texas. His team right now running 1-2 at Lime Rock. And Steve McAleer, you got to be pretty excited. You guys are staying away from all the pushing and shoving going on behind you and just running away with this thing.
Yeah, we are. I mean, obviously, it's early beginnings. We're only 15 minutes into the race. You know, Mark did a fantastic job in qualifying, and it seems to be keeping us out of trouble. Mazda's running really good. We have Tyler McQuarrie right behind us. So, yeah, looking good for Mazda, looking good for Modspace. Hopefully, we can keep up.
Yeah, this group trying to get their 3rd win of the year. Darren?
Yeah, just talking with the team managers for Bimmer World, and they've told Tyler Cook just put his head down and drive hard. Their only option here is to win this race, and so far he's within a 1/10 of a second of the fastest lap time in the race. So they're pushing hard, car feels good, and they're waiting for the next driver change.
Well, I think the other thing we got to keep in mind, look at Mosing. Oh, goodness. At the exit of the uphill. The other thing we have to keep in mind, manufacturers championships, and so important to have those 2 Mazdas running up there. They need another one, though. They need to finish 1, 2, 3 and keep those BMWs a little further back if they want to claim the manufacturers championship. So Terry Borcheller, Mike Lamara leading the championship when they came in here, but Lamara not having a good day. There he is in the white number 23, the BMW, just going over the top of the hill. Started 14th, but now back in 18th, going the wrong direction.
Doesn't seem to have the car under him. You know, the car's sliding around and he's behind it. And what I mean by that is that normally with the car control, you know, the slides look real uniform and under control. These ones look a bit less controlled and more like the car's really not getting into the racetrack.
Well, he seems to have been in a scrap all day long, and I think Lime Rock is one of those tracks, Dorsey, we need to get into a rhythm, and I think because of the argy-bargy that he's been involved with, he really hasn't found the rhythm yet. I think now he's got a bit of a cushion there and can focus on hitting his marks and laying down some lap times. It's all about keeping it clean and turning it over to his teammate, Terry Borcheller.
Right on board with Rhett Odosky, but talking about Mike Lamara, I'm sure that entire team a bit nervous, Chris.
Yeah, Terry Borcheller also looking a little bit nervous down here. Mike Lamara sliding back to 18th right now out there. Any concerns, Terry?
We're a little concerned. I mean, it's a short track, you know, so you can go a lap down real quick, and if that happens, that changes things a lot. But Mike's picked up the pace in the last couple of laps, so we're pushing him hard, and he's trying to do the right thing, keep the car out of trouble, but at the same time, he's got to race, and we've kind of put that pressure on him now. So hopefully things around.
You've won quite a few championships. You've been in this position before. What are you going to need to do the second half of this race?
It just depends on where the car is when I get in. So the team's going to give me information as they get it, depending on where the cars that we're chasing for the championship are. And I'll just do the best I can and take it up as high as I need to.
Good luck. Go get him.
Well, Mike Lamara watching the battle in his rearview mirror. The 26 of Rhett Odosky all over the back of the number 80 BMW of Strelzoff right in front. Now, it's important to note, Street Tuner and Grand Sport not racing together here. It's just Street Tuner, and that may lead to fewer yellows. That's not exactly what Terry Borcheller would like to see. A yellow would get Lamara back up with the rest of the pack, but with just the one class racing today, we may have fewer cautions.
Well, he is concerned because right now Lamara is 33 seconds behind our leader. It's just under a minute to run a lap around here, so he's essentially a complete 1/2 lap behind. So if this continued for the next 25 minutes running at the same pace, he would go down that lap. Obviously, if we get a yellow, it bunches everyone back up, and you regain that cushion that you've lost to the leaders. So Terry Borcheller will certainly be biting his fingernails a little bit and hoping that Lamara does keep the pace up and keeps him on that lead lap.
Race guys don't get to run at this racetrack as much, and there's different variations. That right there was what I was about to talk about. You see it wagging the tail. Well, what happens is they're not running the chicane back there. So when you go up that uphill, you're loaded really heavily. You're climbing a hill, and you're making a hard right-hand corner. So all the weight's on the left rear. The most important thing, and these are low horsepower cars, the most important thing to do is you're about to crest that hill is straighten your hands out.
Yeah.
Take the steering wheel back to a neutral position so that when you launch over that hill, you launch with all of the weight on all fours, not just leaning on that left rear. If you lean on that left rear, it's going to kick the back end out, and they're going to have a big crash up there if they keep that up.
Yeah, I always felt like I need to loosen the grip on the steering wheel as you're coming up over the top. If you have that white knuckle grip on there as you come up over the top, you're going to keep that steering input in there. It's going to pin the nose when the front lands, and just at the same time, the rear is getting loose on you.
Jesse Combs in the 56, running third, trying to hold off Tyler Cook. Combs and his teammate Mossing, well, they're in the championship hunt as well. Champions will be crowned today, and we'll bring it to you. There's more coming back at you from Lime Rock Park. Mark Miller continuing to lead. You ride on board the 25 there for a second, but there's Miller in the Mazda MX-5 out in front from CJ Wilson Racing Stables and having a good run from the get-go. And there's his teammate, Tyler McQuarrie, in the number 3, running 1-2. Let's get you back up to speed. Man, look at that ride.
That was a wild one by Rhett Odosky down to the inside, passing 2 cars in one go. And Andrew Novich wasn't real pleased about that, so he comes back and roughs him up a little bit.
Excuse me, I just wanted to let you know I wasn't happy. You never did that, did you, Dorsey?
I like that stuff.
Pushing him through the left-hander and then the right-hander on to No Name Straight. So these two having a tussle, but the thing that's important about, oh, look at this. There was the 81, Tyler Cook.
Boy, that was a wild ride. And I tell you what that's done. That's elevated Nunez up to third. Now, Mazda's run 1, 2, 3. And if they can maintain that, that will clinch the manufacturer's championship for them, with BMW coming into this race with the manufacturer lead. But if Mazda swept the podium, keeping BMW off that would be enough to clinch tonight. So big implications there.
Man, dropping left side wheels off of West Bend on the exit, that is a scary ride. It's I've seen some horrible wrecks up there.
Saw a look at Corey. Saw a look at Corey Fergus there in the 197 from RSR, and that right side mirror pushed in, so you can tell the racing has been tight, and we expected it to be that way around the racetrack. Good to see the 197 having a good run this weekend, Chris.
Yeah, preseason, I think Corey Fergus and Owen Trickler was one of our preseason contenders for this championship, but the year just hasn't gone that way for you, and you guys have had electrical issues with the car the last 4 races. We've got a little bit less than 2 hours left in the 2013 season. What's the plan today?
We're just going to try to go to the front. We got nothing to lose here. I thought we had definitely contender for the championship this year. Just didn't pan out that way for us, but Corey's been a great teammate. I don't know where it's going to turn out for next year. I got to say hello to my boys back home, Brant and Lucas, my lovely wife, to be here in a couple weeks, October 12th. That's some big plans coming up for us, Jennifer. And we got some good things going on next season here. We're going to be there a 2-car or 4-car team here at RSR with Cruise America on board, and Randy Smalley. We'll be back, and we'll be a contender for this championship next year.
Yeah, always a strong team, just had a rough year. Brian?
Well, they did. Tom Dyer and Andrew Novich in the 196. They have a victory back at Mid-Ohio, and the cars have run strong this year. It's just been little gremlins here and there that have set them back. Corey Fergus has been good. He had some poles last year. They've got the drivers. They just haven't had the luck.
I think some of that's running a multiple car team too. You know, these cars require quite a bit of maintenance and work on them. So when you increase your workload, things tend to get by you sometimes. And I think this team this year is worked into it, but I think they suffered from that.
And there's Andrew Novich in the 196, currently being shown in 16th, just in front of Mike Lamara, our championship leader, in 17th. Lamara trying to make the move on Novich down into turn 1. We've watched this lap after lap, and he just seemed a little timid to make that move. That time he was decisive.
Well, the problem is you've got the big picture, and I'm sure the guys on the pit wall are on the radio too and saying you've got to maintain pace, you've got to go for it, but he's kind of found himself in no man's land. He's got down at the inside a couple of times, down at that brake zone for turn 1, then he's backed out of it, and suddenly you've got guys on the back of you, Dorsey. They get really antsy then. They're going to have a move on you. So this is a really precarious position for our championship leader right now. Mike Lamar, he has to manage it, and right now he is 48 seconds behind the leader of this race. So he's within 11, 12 seconds of going a lap down, and that is big, big news for this team.
And I agree with what you said earlier in the race when he hadn't found his rhythm yet. This is such a rhythm racetrack. You have to hit your marks perfectly. If you're distracted by people rubbing on the back of you, if you're distracted because you're about to go a lap down, you start forgetting about all the things that make you quick around here.
Put your head down, take a
Oh, this is going to be good. You saw the 171 Gleason swing wide around Novich, and I wonder if Novich has a bit of a problem. He's dropped back. That's 2 positions he's lost in the last 2 laps right there in turn 1.
And a great rebound for Kevin Gleason and the APR team. Remember, that car was on pit lane right before the green flag here today with some problems, so they've kept him on the lead lap, got him out there, and he's battled his way back through to about the midfield position.
This track requires the most concentration, I think, of any track you run on. You know, because it's coming at you so fast. The only slow corner is that left-hander. There's only one left-hander. You got to keep your momentum up. You got to look at all the things around you. So, I mean, your concentration level, if it gets broken by another guy roughing you up or whatever, well, it happens so fast, a sub-minute lap. So if you're distracted for just a few seconds, it costs you another lap.
So Lamar clean sailing out in front of him right now, but Novich dropping back. Corey Fergus said earlier he had to be careful with those front tires with the understeer. Perhaps Andrew Novich has just burned the front tires off with wheel spin in some of the lower speed corners here at Lime Rock.
Well, he's been roughed up a little bit today as well, so there might be a little bit of suspension damage, which has hurt the setup to the point that he doesn't quite get the lap time out of it. But there we saw the overall championship leader going down into turn 1, and there's the leader of the race right now, Mark Miller. So he's not that far behind Mike Lamara. We're just talking about trying to keep that championship leading car on the lead lap.
And these guys in front, there's not just one of them. There's one that's in the lead as far as the championship goes, but I would not let these 2 guys by if I would, no matter what. They would not get by me, period.
Mazda's running 1, 2, 3. Miller and Macquarie, teammates at CJ Wilson Racing, having a good run, and then Tristan Nunez in 3rd. And that is good news for Mazda in the Manufacturers Championship. Chris?
Well, there's lots of nervous drivers down here concerned about this Drivers' Championship, but we got to remember this Manufacturers' Championship too. And right now, John Doonan's team, John Doonan's manufacturer, leading BMW. John, you got to be excited about that.
I am, Chris, and really proud of these race teams. CJ Wilson Racing, Freedom Autosport, iMoto. They've all won races this year, taking cars literally from the dealership, putting them out here to battle with the best that the other manufacturers can bring. So we're running well now. A long way to go here, just under 2 hours, but the Continental Series racing is really some of the best racing around the planet. We're really proud to be out here with cars straight from the dealership.
Yeah, we're closing out this year, but you're already looking towards next year. What do you see Mazda's involvement?
Well, the MX-5 Miata is certainly an iconic car for our brand. We're going to continue to run those, and we're just launched the all-new Mazda 3 to our dealerships. iMoto's been running the previous generation, so got a few more meetings yet. Hopefully put everything together here in the next couple weeks. So thanks a lot.
Well, we always love seeing your support.
And John Doonan, one of those guys who just is always giving 110% for the Mazda brand. And good to see good racing from here at Lime Rock Park, the street tuner category of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series. Mark Miller, can he go from pole to checkers and win the final round of 2013? We'll find out. Owen Trinkler behind the wheel of the 197, the Cruise America Honda Civic from RSR Racing. Back on pit road. I say back on pit road because Corey Fergus was behind the wheel of the 197. Contact with the number 25 Mazda from Derek Whitus. And there's damage to the right front. And we were just talking about that team needing good luck. And they didn't have it here. And there's something seriously bent in the suspension, the right front of the 197.
Yeah, Brian, this is the second time Owen Trinkler bringing the car to pit lane, and I think we got some bent suspension parts up there, so a little bit too much camber in this right front. When I took a look inside that wheel well, it looked like the tire was rubbing up against the shock in there, and after that first time that they sent Owen out, that's when they lost that tire. So back in, trying to make an adjustment and get that tire off the shock. Darren?
Yeah, the 26 car just came in. Rhett got out and they put Carbonell in. It was a basic routine stop for Continental Tires, and they're back on the road again.
And with the sort of mileage that these cars get down, I bet that could be their only pit stop of the day. So I'm assuming that they've got into their window here, and now they're just going to try and get after it and try and keep some good track position. Here we see the incident here. Derek Whitus screaming down the inside. Very late move, and didn't look that bad there, but there was a big clunk. We saw it from the onboard. Let's listen in. Right there, that was the damage to the 197. And that's why that's effectively put them out of the running right now.
I think it bent that strut, hit right on the right front wheel and pushed that strut in, so now the tire rubbing against the shock, or the strut if you will, and so they got big problems.
And Derek White has said on the radio, I didn't mean to do that. I had a soft brake pedal and got in there just too deep. Tell him I'm sorry, but
won't make a difference.
I'm sorry, doesn't straighten the shock back out. And another bad day at the racetrack for RSR and their 197. And there is Derek Whitus serving a stop and hold for 67 for avoidable contact.
We talked about the fact that this probably is going to be 2 laps. I think at least 2 laps.
Oh, and a problem.
That's a bad spot. And another one. Clipped it. That's the Skull Candy car.
Might have been Novich involved.
Jourdain in the 34. It looks like he had spun at the exit of West Bend back to the inside. And now it's just kind of dead in the water there, just at the top of the hill.
You saw him get clipped as one of the cars tried to get around him and just got a little sideways, and they just met.
See,
whole front bumper cover missing off somebody.
Jourdain's bumper, and this is going to bring out a yellow, I would assume. But it's too late for Mike Lamara, who wanted that yellow before he went a lap down. There's the bumper cover.
That's just a piece of plastic, more or less. It's not too bad, but it's too big to just leave around laying out there.
Let's take a look. Right there. So he spun at the exit of West Bend.
It's too much speed, more than likely, and he got things sideways. Watch this. As these guys try to get around him, there's your contact.
I think that's Novich, isn't it?
I think it is Novich.
It is Novich.
Yeah. One of the iMoto machines, as well as one of the Freedom.
They slammed backside to backside.
And you saw the car rolling backwards across the racetrack, and that is not what the race car driver wants to see as he comes around the corner. You want to see that car stopped so you can pick your way around. And now we have gone full course caution, the first of the day, with 1 hour and 32 minutes left to go. And we talked about it, Mike Lamara probably wanted to see this yellow a little bit earlier, and this will bring everyone, I would assume, into pit lane for pit stops.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It'll be interesting to see how things shuffle out here. So remember, the 26 car of Odowski and Carbonell had made that green flag pit stop, so they should leapfrog around a bunch of these cars who will probably take this opportunity to maybe make their one and only pit stop of the day.
So the safety car will come back on track. Eric Curran filling in this weekend in another Compass 360 Honda, once again trying to help Honda to a manufacturer's championship and help Compass 360 in the team championship. But last round, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca.
Corkscrew. This is a hairy moment. We talked about Derek White's having a soft brake pedal. While when Eric Curran went to the brake pedal, nothing was at home. And you can see the wild ride, nearly dug in and tipped it over. Lucky to get away with that one, but destroyed that car. And that means that the CKS team are down to one car this weekend, just destroying this Camaro.
Yeah, it was a big, big hit. So his Camaro not ready to run this weekend. Lawson Aschenbach will share the 0-1 with Ashley McCalmont. And so Eric Curran says, hey, I'm a driver for hire this weekend. Who's got a seat for me?
Well, we talked to him after the wreck. He said he felt good that good day.
Yeah.
I talked to him this week. He said, no, that's a bit premature.
Yeah,
He was pretty sore.
On the day of it, it never hurts, does it?
No, and then as you get older,
the next day,
he'll be sore for, a long time. That was a wicked hit he took there, I got to say.
BMW safety car out now, lining up the field. Once they get the field gathered up, then the pit lane will open. It's Mark Miller, Tyler McQuarrie, Eric Curran, Tristan Nunez, and Tyler Cook. That's the top 5. Tyler Cook, he's got a shot at this championship. And as the caution flies, well, the guys on the pit boxes reviewing their strategy, trying to figure out how to get their teams, their drivers to the front. When the checkered flag falls, 1.5 hours from now. Stay with us. Pit stops underway at Lime Rock Park. The season finale with championships on the line. The first full course caution of the day. 1.5 hours left and pit stops. Here we go, Darren.
It's busy over here in the Compass 360 pits. The 77 is coming in, 74 coming in, 75 coming in. Eversley is actually getting in the championship car. And just like Calvin said, talking to these guys, this could possibly be the last fuel stop, but they probably need a yellow later on in the event here. Chris?
And Darren, our CJ Wilson leading cars, both of them in pit lane, just fuel, no tires. It's a very cool day, very low 60s right now, and the 3 beats the 5 out. One thing about the 5 that the team has been telling me is since that car's been out front all day long, that car running temperatures a little bit cooler than they anticipated and had a little bit of a misfire. Interesting, the team didn't put any tape on that radiator.
See the 23 on pit lane. Terry Borcheller taking over from Mike Lamara. That is the championship leading team, but Lamara not having the day that he wanted. And right now this pit stop looks like the tire change taking a little bit of time as well.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure this car went down a lap, Brian, so I'm surprised they didn't wait for a wave around to try and get the 23 car back on the lead lap before they put Borcheller in. This is going to keep him a lap down, I believe.
Lost a lot of time with that right front, both getting it off and then getting it back on again.
And what you mean by that is waiting. If all the leaders had come to the pits and they had stayed out, they would have cycled back around. The leaders would have been out behind them. They would have effectively been back on the lead lap. Then they could have pitted on the last lap of full course caution, perhaps gotten back on the lead lap. So we'll have to see how it cycles through.
Yeah, I'm having to wait because our timing and scoring is just cycling through here. I'm pretty sure I saw the 23 had gone down a lap.
If he had, that was a
Mark
mistake.
Miller, so we'll have to wait and see. If they hadn't, then they're obviously doing the right thing. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, we talk about the championship on the way in, and while Mike Lamara and Terry Borcheller lead that championship, it was Ryan Eversley and Kyle Gimple sitting in second. They've still got a shot at this, and Kyle Gimple is out after his first stint is with Darren.
Kyle, you guys just had your final stop for you in the car in the championship. The 23 cars actually had trouble early on in the race. How's your car right now?
You know, our car's pretty good. You know, it's got a pretty decent long run set on it right now. After first practice, you know, we only got one practice today, so we weren't too sure. After that long run, you know, I'm feeling pretty confident about the car. Ryan's in it now. He's a great shoe, so we're gonna try to take it and try to win this thing and see if we can't get the championship too.
All right, they're in it, guys. Over to you, Chris.
Well, Mike Lamaro getting out of the 23 BMW. And Mike, obviously that probably wasn't the stint you really wanted, but you got the shoe in the car now and hopefully you can close this championship out.
Yeah, that's why he makes the big bucks, right? Yeah, it was just the car was a handful in the rear end and, you know, just struggling with those Continental tires. But I think they got better and better as it went along, and I just was giving it all I could give her.
And does Terry have a car that he can push back towards the front?
I think so. I mean, Terry's Terry, so I think he's going to do a great job. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch.
Well, it will be, and as the timing and scoring screen cycles through, perhaps when the safety car picked up the leader, perhaps Mike Lamaro was able to get back on that lead lap because he's being shown on it right now with Terry Borcheller in the 23. Championships still yet to be decided, and the race win on the line as well. From Lime Rock Park, street tuner of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series, just getting back lined up. We're under full course caution. Let's check in the pits with one of our championship contenders in Darren Law.
Tyler Cook, you just got out of the 81 car. You guys are in third right now, so you're in position. The 23s actually had trouble, so you guys are kind of the dark horse for the championship, but you have a shot at it. It looked like it was a bit rough out there.
Yeah, traffic's definitely been the issue with this track. I mean, it's a hard place to pass, but everybody's been pretty respectable so far. But knowing 23 had a little bit of a problem, I feel bad for them about that, but we'll take advantage of it and try to go after championship full now.
All right, if Borcheller can get it going, they have a shot at it, but these guys are feeling pretty good right now.
Well, they should be feeling pretty good. They're being shown in third, but Terry Borcheller, they dodged a bullet. They were about to get put a lap down, and obviously the yellow came at just the right time. They did not, and they are being shown right now in 12th on the lead lap. Green flag waves. We're back underway at Lime Rock. 1 hour and 23 minutes left to go. Tyler Cook said everybody's been pretty respectful up till now.
Up till now would be the key word there.
Up till now is the key, and right now, Chad McCumbee leads into turn one.
That BMW sitting in third, that would bring the manufacturer's title back to BMW, but look at that. Joel Miller's taken over from Tristan Nunez in the 27. He's putting the pressure on immediately. Looks to the inside for turn 4. Not quite close enough.
Tristan Nunez sharing that car this weekend with Joel Miller. They typically run in the GX category in the Rolex Sports Car Series, but Mazda pulling out all the stops trying to win that manufacturer's championship.
And remember, the 3 jumped the 5 in the pit. Oh, big sideways back in the middle of the pack. That was a close one. The 3 jumped the 5 on the start, so we've got to see if it's as fast a car now. Of course, we've got driver change. Oh, boy, look at this outside run.
Wow.
What a move. What a move by Gregory Lafuge.
That is a power move to the outside. 4 wide.
Here comes Joel Miller to the
5
inside,
wide.
looking for second spot.
Oh, the excitement's about to happen right here in turn 1.
In there. Eversley looking for a championship. He's up to second.
Boys, that was some driving right there. 5 wide, get down to 1, and they made it.
And it is not over with yet. Lafuge goes from third to first down the front straightaway, 4 wide. And that BMW handling well. He and Tyler Cook have a shot at this championship, but they need to be up front. That is exactly where they are right now.
I'm not sure where the stumble came, Dorsey, because there was CJ Wilson cars right front, and suddenly they found themselves shuffled back. So I'm not sure if they got side by side or whatever. But here we see Borcheller getting roughed up by one of the Compass 360 machines. Remember, it's team going after team here. Those Compass 360 boys, they have a lot of teammates out there to maybe try and rough up Terry Borcheller here.
Boy, and there was some roughing up going on. You saw Terry's BMW wiggling like crazy. Guys dropping a wheel on the downhill here. This is some frantic driving right now.
Borcheller is cleared. That's Robert Thorne behind the wheel of the 77, taking over after Curran had a tremendous opening stint.
Well, and some penalties. The 181 for hitting pit equipment, the 63, the 65. Too fast on pit lane, and another hitting pit equipment. So those will be stop and hold for 60 seconds. But for Thorne, not in this championship in the 77, really roughing up the 23, and you see the 25 with a problem. Derek Whitus, the end of the front straight.
Whitus said before that he had lost his brake pedal. That's why he got into the contact, and this is way down in, take a look, listen on.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. He's got
that's scary.
Now, see, I've been down this road. You don't want to go much further.
You've been all kinds of places
everywhere
around
around
this
here.
racetrack.
I have. I've been in that creek over there. I fished in that creek over there.
And that's not what you want. That's the highest speed on the racetrack. You go to the pedal, it's not there. It's very disconcerting. You saw the brake problem that Eric Curran had at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Race cars are fun when they go fast, but when you get to the far end of the straightaway and the brake pedal's not there, it's not fun any longer.
Derek was pumping his brakes all the way down there. He finally got enough brake pedal to get it stopped, but he was in deep trouble there for a minute.
Ryan Eversley right on the rear bumper of Gregory Lafuge in the number 81 BMW. This is as they run right now. Ryan Eversley, Kyle Gimple would win the championship. I know you love this, Dorsey. Look at him sitting over there.
The only thing wrong with that is the way it sits at the top screen there. 1:19:37. This isn't over yet.
So 1 hour and 19 minutes left.
But we love to chew on this. I mean, this is exactly the sort of run that Ryan Eversley, Carl Gimble needed here today. They need not just another podium, they need to maximize the points. Then hopefully Borchardt stays out of the top 4. That would clinch the Drivers' Championship for them.
You know, an hour 19 around here is a long way to go. I'm not kidding you. These laps run by really fast. You're doing 58-second laps run around here with all these traffic like it is. An hour here without making a mistake. Can you do it? You know, you have to concentrate.
I mean, think about it. It's 79 seconds. That's 79 laps. And they'll be into lap traffic before long, and that's going to play a part in it as LeFou's trying to hold off Eversley. Eversley wants this championship very, very badly. There's a look at Terry Borchardt as he comes across the line being shown in 10th. He picks up a position. So one more time, the points possibilities will change.
Yeah, and for Terry Borchardt, it gives him 79 laps to climb up through this field. He's now up into the top 10, and he's a 3-time Rolex Series champion. He's won the overall victory at the Rolex 24-hour race at Daytona. He's got so much experience, and Chris said at the top of the show, he and Mike LaMara got together 2 years ago and said, let's go after a championship, and he's in prime position to take it. He's going to utilize all of those years of experience right now. This is a replay of that end of that restart lap. Look at that.
So the problem had to have happened out of West Bend.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the two Mazdas, because everybody just swarms them, and there's the 4 abreast down the front straightaway.
Mike LaMara came in and he said he was really having trouble with the car in the back end. So now you got to wonder, when Terry Borchardt got in, did they make any kind of adjustment to do a tire pressure possibly? Or did they do anything to give Terry a little bit better car? Well, I mean, Terry could drive it even if it is a little loose. I'm not saying that, but could they fix the car a little bit while they were doing all the other?
Oh, look at this. Joel Miller in the Mazda, the MX-5 in there, trying to get past Eversley.
It's so tempting because you think I can just carry that speed in, but you don't really use much braking there for turn 4, Dorsey, so it's hard to make that move.
It is. I mean, this is a momentum track, and you have to time your passes. One of the places is right here. Get the run up the uphill.
Billy Johnson has now dived into the mix here. He's kind of filling in for Compass 360 here this weekend. Runs with the Roush program over on the GS side, so they're bringing in all the ringers here this weekend. Billy Johnson driving that 74 car has got around Joel Miller and is now sitting in that 4th spot.
And Dorsey, you were just wondering about the 23 car, Terry Borchardt, if they made any adjustments to that car. I did check with the team, and all they did was tires and fuel, no air pressure adjustment, trying to get the balance more forward in that car.
Well, and you look at Terry Borchardt, and if the car's going to be loose, it's probably not going to bother him as much as it would Mike LaMara. Still a long way to go from Lime Rock Park. A long way to go before we determine a race winner, and more importantly, a season-long champion. We'll be right back. Terry Borchardt just in front of the Mazda there in the white 23 BMW, doing all he can to claim the championship in the street tuner category of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge for himself, his team, and co-driver Mike LaMara. But he's got his hands full of Vesko Kozarov in that 33 right in front, and right behind the 26 of Andrew Carbonell in the Mazda.
Boy, Andrew Carbonell really putting the pressure on Terry. Terry's trying like everything to get by Kozarov. And as he sits right now, he's in good shape for the championship because he would clinch with that finish where he's at now. But we still got just short of an hour.
Yeah, you got plenty of time left, and I'm sure the guys down at Burton Racing are well aware of that, Chris.
Yeah, Brian, this team very excited right now. They've been doing the math, and they're realizing this championship swinging back in their direction. If you remember, when we went caution, all the driver changes happened. Terry Borchardt took over the 23 when they were back in 19th. He's made that steady charge all the way to the front. Very happy with the balance of the car. His biggest frustration right now, traffic. Just saying he can't get around any of these other cars in front of him.
You're right on board with Andrew Carbonell. I feel like Terry Borchardt is probably quicker than Kozarov, but he just can't get around it.
I was about to say the exact same thing. I think he's getting held up. It's so awkward here when you catch to the back end of another car. Your momentum's broken, and you have to back away. But he can't back away because Carbonell's right behind him trying to get by.
He's in a very awkward position. He can't afford to have contact here. Remember, there's been a lot of penalties this year for avoidable contact, so he's got to keep it clean. But when he slows down a little bit, Carbonell is ready to pounce. So James Clay has been in the mix here today as well, having a great run with that turbocharged F30 BMW 84 car a little bit further back in the pack right now. They got a boost increase since the last round, and it's really transformed the performance of that car today.
Looks to me like Terry Borchardt quicker, especially down in 1 and 2 in the middle of the corner. Kozarov that Ultima has the legs down the straightaway. Terry gets a run through West Bend right there, but it's difficult to do anything with him down this front straightaway. He's got to run.
Particularly since Kozarov will, he will protect his inside move. Terry stuck him. He's got Carbonell all over the back of him. He can't pull in there, try to make a pass and not make it, because Carbonell will go to the outside and trap him.
On board with Andrew Carbonell. This is where the Mazdas have been ducking to the inside and making some of their patented MX-5 moves. Nothing doing for Carbonell this time. Borcheller, the meat in the sandwich.
And this is where Carbonell likes to go. He can get a really good run through this left-hander here, and he really charges up on the back end of Terry Borcheller. Swings out wide here. Look at that. He's really tight on him. Didn't quite time it quite right. He really accelerates off the corner at the same pace as Terry. So it's really a chess match, Dorsey, in trying to set the person up in front of you.
Yeah, Terry and Andrew both need to back off just a little bit. Give themselves about 7-8 car lengths, and then together mount a charge. One of the two of them, if not both, will go by. But once you're on the tailgate of the car in front of you, your momentum's broke. You can't do anything around here.
And there's your overall leader, the #1 of Lafuge. Lafuge having a good run. Right behind him in second place is Ryan Eversley. If it were to finish this way, Eversley, the second of the orange and silver Compass 360 cars, the number 75. There he is. If it were to finish this way, Borcheller and Lamara would win the championship, but that is a long way to go, and things can change on any lap. Darren?
Well, I'm here with Carl Thompson, and Carl is the team principal for Compass 360. You guys are pushing for this championship. You're in, there's almost an hour left, so you still got a shot at it. You've got to push hard, but you were telling me that you're pretty light on fuel.
Yeah, it's you got to say it's great to be in the hunt again. I think we've been in the hunt. Finally, the last 6 years we've been first or second, so these guys do a great job. Oh, pardon me. These guys do a great job. We are having to push, but at the same point, we're real tight on fuel. So, on one hand, you got to push, you got to stay ahead. Terry's coming, we can see that. On us, on the other hand, if we push too hard, we're going to run out of gas.
So next year, 2014, we've read that you guys are moving to the GS class with Subarus.
We are, yeah. We're really excited about that program. We're adding it to the ST program. We're not going away from Honda. We've been partners with Honda for many years, and we're happy to stay with them. But they really don't have anything that we can run in GS. So when the Subaru opportunity came up, it made a lot of sense. Those are very similar kinds of cars in terms of how quickly things wear, as we're used to with the Civics. So we got some good technical partners. We're bringing those cars, got developed pretty well. A little bit more, I think, to be right there.
All right, that'll make 2014 interesting, and we'll see how it goes on the fuel issue, guys.
Well, and Dorsey, you and Calvin both have won sports car races, endurance races, and it's the words you never want to hear from your crew chief. I need you to go fast and save fuel. Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, I don't think you can afford to back off. You just got to keep hammering it hard. They had no option but to take that caution. It was probably about 10 minutes outside of their ideal window. But the problem is, when there's not two classes in the race, Dorsey has really cleaned up this race. Only one yellow flag here, and on this bull ring, we'd probably had half a dozen with GS and ST together.
Definitely.
So it's a different dynamic to the race here today.
I would answer back, I need more horsepower and a pay increase.
Familiar words from you, Dorsey. Look at Borcheller, looks to the inside almost every lap on Kozarov down in one, but he can't open the door too wide because right there, the 26, Andrew Carbonell is ready to pounce. Borcheller quicker through the tighter sections here at Lime Rock, but he just cannot get past the Ultima.
Borcheller looks to the inside.
And
He's starting to lose patience, Dorsey. Look at this. Here comes Carbonell. He's got to run on him.
That's the bad news. I knew this could happen. Terry knew it too. If he made that move and it didn't work,
I think Carbonell may have missed a shift there or balked a shift a little bit.
But that's an eye-opener if I ever did see one. For Terry Borcheller to make a move and not be able to make the pass leaves him wide open to be passed.
That's what he's got to be careful of.
And you saw Kozarov too block that move. You saw him move instantly to the inside.
Well, and if you're Terry Borcheller and you understand the way these races have been called and the way the rules are, that you cannot move in response to another driver, do you keep making that move and hope that perhaps the officials will take care of Kozarov for you? There's 81, Greg Lafuge, caught up behind the 77. He's still leading. 77 a lap down.
Well, 77 car's been quick. He's been in the pit lane. He had that flat tire. So Robert Thorne is not trying to let this leader by. Remember, he's trying to do Ryan Eversley, his teammate who runs in second, a bit of a favor by sort of like maintaining the pace of this 81 car, not letting him get too far in front, so Eversley may have a shot at him later in the going.
Yeah, I mean, he's fast enough to stay in front and make himself a pain. That's what you want, so that the guys from behind, your teammates, can maybe get a run going. And
Well, you can frustrate people by being on their back bumper and force them into a mistake, but you can frustrate people by being in front of them. Same thing. You're trying to get Gregory Lafuge to make a mistake in desperation and frustration, but for Lafuge, he needs to understand he's got the lead. It's not being closed down on. He needs to be patient. Ryan Eversley just needs to save fuel.
It's hard to pass a person here that doesn't want to be passed because you look at this now, would you? Everybody's at 266, so we can't stop now. We can't.
And if it were to end in a tie, Lamara and Borcheller would take it because of race victories. But man, that just shows you how good a job the officials have done, the teams have done, the manufacturers have done in bringing this championship as close together as it is. 52 minutes left to go in the 2013 Street Tuner division of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series. A championship will be decided today from right here at Lime Rock Park. 37 minutes to go from Lime Rock. Let's get you up to speed. Why is it called a bull ring? Well, that's why.
A little bit of argy-bargy going on, Dorsey.
Yeah, all around this place is argy-bargy going on.
Excuse me, pardon me.
Bumping my corner, sorry, your corner.
Yep, and then you see the problem here for the 34. That's right underneath the bridge.
And I'll hit that car, thank you.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there. Andrew Novich in the 196 gets into it. The lights out on the safety car. Just the end of our second full course caution. 36 minutes to go to a championship and a race winner, and you better be holding on.
Now it's a sprint race. Now you take the gloves off. It doesn't make any difference. Let's go.
What's Terry Borcheller going to do with Kozarov in front of him?
Get by him at all costs.
Vesco has been very difficult to get by, and now Gregory Lafuge in the blue and yellow 81 leads the field to green. Right behind him, the 77. That car's a lap down. But he wants to fight for his teammate, the 181, another lap car.
Unfortunately for the 75 car, that's the fourth car in line. That's Ryan Eversley. He needs to make some ground here, try and get to that leader. He needs maximum points here today with Borcheller sitting there in the 7th spot.
And he's trapped by all the guys trying to get their lap back, which are actually pretty fast cars.
And Terry Borcheller, has he cleared Vesco Kozarov?
I don't know.
That would be big, big news if he has.
Oh, there he is.
Yes, he did.
Side by side there, coming out of 4. He has cleared him, and that has been a major frustration for Terry Borcheller for around the last 30 minutes.
Oh, but Kozarov coming back. He's got to be nervous about that. Now he's got to get past the 50. And a little block there by the 50, who is a lap down. And that's got to be frustrating. Timmy Megenbeyer behind the wheel of the 50, the Porsche. There's danger everywhere for Borcheller. He gets it done at the downhill.
Well, right now, Eversley has to somehow get the lead of this motor race. Otherwise, the championship will go Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamara's way. So right now, Carl Thompson will be on the radio saying to Ryan Eversley, do everything you can. You've got to get the lead of this motor race.
There is no harder racetrack in the world to end a championship on than Lime Rock. It's just unpredictable what happens around here. It's so aggressive.
Now Terry Borcheller being shown in 6th. That is big because Eversley still in 2nd place. But the next car in line is the lap car of number 77. If it looks a lot like Ryan Eversley, it's because it's from the same team, and that is going to be difficult. Thorne is going to be a thorn in the side of Terry Borcheller.
You're darn right he is. He's going to do everything he can to keep that car back there.
And Eversley's got a wingman as well, Dorsey. Billy Johnson is now sitting in that 3rd spot. I think he's going to sit there and try and hold those CJ Wilson Mazdas back a little bit and allow Eversley to go after Gregory Lafuge. Eversley has to win now with Borcheller running in the 6th spot.
And with Billy Johnson, there's not going to be an easy adversary to get by. He's going to make
look at this.
Not there. A little warning shot by Terry Borcheller.
In contact, and look at Vesco Kozarov.
Oh boy, Terry Borcheller will not believe this.
And he did not want to see that. That has been the problem for the last 10 minutes of the race, trying to get past Kozarov, and now Borcheller in the thick of it through turns 1 and 2.
Oh, and look at this, the 77 car is coming back at Terry Borcheller as well. We're on board the 25.
This is not going to work. If it stayed up there, you saw it.
It is going to get ugly.
It's going to get a spin or a wreck if they don't stop this.
Before it gets any better, it is going to get ugly. And Terry Borcheller almost gets turned by Thorne.
Thorne's bumping him, pushing him, trying to do everything he can, trying to disrupt that car.
This championship is not coming easy, boys. Terry Borcheller is in the fight of his life right now.
He's got more guys against him than anybody working with him. He's by himself, all these other cars doing everything to take him around.
And Robert Thorne, a lap down. I don't know. I don't like it, guys. I don't like it at all. The contact there with his teammate running for the championship. I don't like what I see there. Gregory Lafuge has extended his lead down the front straightaway.
He has got pace. He has got a lot of pace.
Yes,
Lafuge, they won at Road America. They've got a strong car. And they're in the thick of this battle, too. They're not out of it. If bad things happen to Terry Borscheller, Gregory Lafuge can also win this championship.
You know, if I got guys that are lapped down from a team that I'm trying to beat, and they're beating me all back and forth, and they're not calling penalties on it, that leaves me no choice.
Yeah, it makes me a bit frustrated, but he can't fight back. He had his hands full of Vesko Kosarov earlier and couldn't get by. On the restart, he got it done, but then traffic has turned the tables again. Borscheller back in 7th.
Oh, it's so frustrating. That's what Lime Rock's like as a driver. You have to keep your wits about you. You have to just suck it all up. It's so frustrating around here.
Borscheller running 7th and Eversley in 2nd. They would be tied at the end of the day. Borscheller would get it on most wins, having claimed 2 victories this year. Eversley, remember, has not had a victory with Kyle Dimple this year, but just been super consistent.
Eversley now the car directly behind Gregory Lafuge down the front straightaway. Lafuge is going to have to work through lap traffic here in the next 32 laps. 32 minutes to go. That should be about 32 laps.
181, that's a car that's a lap down. The VW and Billy Johnson showing a lot of speed there, currently running 3rd, 4th car in line. Another of the Compass 360 machines.
You got to know what his position is, too. He's going to be the pick. He's going to be sitting there as a defender.
Yeah, he's got to protect Ryan Eversley here. He's got to keep those Mazdas behind him.
And the good news is the 181 of Altberg, even though he's a lap down, has good pace. That's going to help Ryan Eversley. And then he's got his wingman, Billy Johnson, in the 74. So 2 cars between Ryan Eversley and then the number 5 of McAleer.
Lafuge has pace, though. It looks like he's got 2 or 3 tenths over Ryan Eversley. It's going to be real tough for Ryan with not a lot of traffic in front of our leader right now to really cut into that lead.
We lost our 26 onboard, guys. That was behind the wall, just pulled back.
Andrew Carbonell, the 26 out of the fight for Freedom Autosport, another one of the Mazda MX-5s. Remember, Manufacturers Championship on the line. It was Mazda's 1, 2, 3 early on, and now McAleer doing everything he can to keep Joel Miller in the 27 Mazda from Freedom Autosport behind him. This thing changes lap by lap at Lime Rock in the championship. The implications, they ebb back and forth every time they come past the checkered flag. There's a look at the Compass 360 team. They're hoping for a championship. The final round from Lime Rock Park had almost football-like contact out here today at Lime Rock, and you expect that in a class as close as the Street Tuner division of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge.
Well, the job Lafuge is doing up front, though. He's doing everything he could do here today is go out and win this motor race and see how the chips fall. So look for his 2nd win of the year. They started off the year on a high with the 2nd place run at Daytona. Been an up and down season for a lot of these contenders, however. Getting a consistent run through this 11-race championship is awfully tough to do with the amount of competition we have in this series.
Ryan Eversley, of course, right there fighting for the championship in 2nd place at Compass 360, and right behind him 2 cars, because that Volkswagen's lap down, is Billy Johnson running 3rd place. So getting by 2 of those is going to be really difficult to do.
Oh, he gives him a
it's there. Roughed him up a little bit, and he'll take the no, he won't.
It was
because
close.
If he took the position, we'd have to see if he get called down on it.
Billy really working the steering there through turn 3, trying to get some bite in the front end of that Honda. And he's one of the aggressive drivers in this series, just gives it his all, 110% all of the time. Superb talent here behind the wheel of that 74 machine.
And now the 181 off to the side. Terry Borscheller getting hung up behind the 77 Thorn.
And these 2 cars he's the meat and the sandwich to are a lap down, so this is a very weird scenario for Terry Borscheller. He still sits in that 7th spot, and that is enough to get him the championship in terms of being tied and with most wins.
The 77 right here, you see him in front of Terry Borscheller, is getting a drive-through penalty for blocking. That's the first blocking call we've seen.
But remember, it's not going to give Terry Borscheller a position because this guy's a lap down.
Just gets him out of the way.
Yeah, all it does is give him clear sailing. So for Terry Borscheller, one of the cars will be gone. Chris?
Well, and I think that penalty there comes because a lot of lobbying has been going down here with Burton Racing. Keith Burton, the team owner, talking to one of the Grand Am officials on pit lane and just telling him for about the past 3 to 5 laps, that 77 car just really getting in the way of Terry Borscheller and getting in the way of this championship. So let's get him off the racetrack.
Tell you who to look for, guys, is the 80 Carl Bloom. He's got a lot of speed. Here's a look what we're talking about in terms of the blocking, just defending that inside line.
Well, and he moved in response to Terry going over there, and that's the no-no. You can't move in response. That's a block because he's just in the wrong place on the racetrack.
And Terry sent him for a little bit of wild ride there. take a look here.
And look, you're a lap down. We know that you're trying to defend your teammate. That's all well and good, but you got to play by the rules, and the officials don't think Robert Thorne is, so they're going to move him with a black flag.
The big thing is the lap down, though, isn't it? I mean, that's what's dirty about it.
The lap down, and also it's one of his teammates who Terry Bourchier is fighting for the championship against, so I'm sure that the stewards are looking at that. But look for this 80 car. This Bimmerwald car has a lot of speed, and he's coming after Terry Bourchier, and if he can get by him, that'll move Terry one position back out of the points he needs today to clinch the championship. So watch for that Bimmerwald car, who is now directly behind Terry Bourchier. This is huge.
Now we're going to find out what kind of a BMW Terry Bourchier has underneath him, because he's got clear sailing. Of course, the next car in line is Vesko Kozarov that he's not been able to get around for a lap. So, yeah, you're right, Calvin. Bloom right behind in the 80, and those Bimmerworld cars have been quick all weekend long.
We'll see how fast Terry's able to catch Vesko Kozarov. I don't know that he's going to be able to catch him that fast, but Vesko's done pretty well. He's been impossible to pass, but if Terry can actually pull up there, it does show, in fact, that he was being held up on his speed per lap.
He's got anything left, he's got to use it right now, because Connor Bloom's had a couple of podium runs here this year, showing a lot of pace in that Bimmerworld number 80. And if he can get around Terry Bourchier and move Bourchier back to 8th, if Eversley hangs on to 2nd, that would clinch Eversley the driver championship. So it's going down to the wire, boys. Final race of the championship, 25 minutes to go.
And for Ryan Eversley, he doesn't really have to worry about the car directly behind him. It's his teammate, Billy Johnson, playing defense. Well, it was, but now that 27 has gone through Joel Miller. Now this could change the championship, because Miller has no dog in this fight. Can he get past Ryan Eversley?
And they're side by side behind him too. Billy Johnson almost made contact with the 5.
Stephen McAleer is coming too.
They just rub fenders in a really dangerous place.
Well, for more on McAleer, here's Chris.
Well, Brian just checked in with the team, because we saw both of those CJ Wilson Mazdas really running away with this race in the early stages of it. But checking in with the team, they didn't do a tire change on that last pit stop, and I thought maybe that was something that was holding them back or holding their pace back. But what the team told me is, boy, when you just get out of that clean air and you get in traffic, just having to crack that throttle just one little bit with these Mazdas that maybe you could carry a little bit more momentum through the corner is just killing them right now. So not having the pace that they had in that first hour.
Well, the other thing that's killing right now is the 181, Alex Altberg, a lap down.
And racing hard for that position. Not for the position, but for that position on the racetrack.
And that just throws another wrench into it. There's Terry Bourchier right behind him. Bloom not letting him get away. But what may be getting away is the championship. Can Terry Bourchier hold on? Can he and Mike Lamaro win the 2013 championship? We'll find out in 23 minutes at Lime Rock Park. Gregory Lafourche continues to control the field here at Lime Rock, but the championship complexion changes lap after lap. We told you that, and this could have been the championship right here.
This is huge here. Watch Joel Miller go down into the brake zone, take in really deep, and go around the outside of Ryan Eversley there, and he gets that 2nd position. It was tight, but it was clean, Dorsey, and this has huge implications in the championship scenario.
It was great. He faked Eversley into thinking he was going to go up the inside. Eversley took that position so it couldn't be made, and then he popped out wide. Eversley, with that tight corner, had to go slower than the outside radius opened up. That was really mega pass.
It was a mega pass, and what it does, it gives Terry Bourchier back in 7th a little bit of breathing room, because if Eversley were to finish here in 3rd, it allows Bourchier and Lamar to finish as low as 9th, still have a tie, and they would take the championship. And now the 33 Vesko Kozarov, who had been holding on to that Nissan Altima all race long, has gone off. That is moved Bourchier up another position.
You got to hope that he went off on his own and Terry didn't help him off.
Oh, he's deep in the brake zone. He's really deep.
No, he got himself out. That's good. That's the way it should be.
And for Terry Bourchier, he may be able to let Connor Bloom go.
He needs to let him go.
Yeah, absolutely let him go.
He's got 3 positions to work with, and there's no one really close. So if Connor starts to put the pressure on Terry, he needs to be communicated with by his team on the radio, saying, Terry, you now have the buffer needed. Eversley's dropped down to 3rd. You can drop all the way down to 9th, and you're currently running in the 6th spot.
Yeah, pressure's off right now on Terry, just with that. With Vesko getting out of the way on his own like that, that just opened up a huge gap. Now Eversley losing that position back to 3rd.
Yeah, now the pressure back on Compass 360 and Ryan Eversley. Darren?
Well, talking with the Compass guys, you know how hard this track is on the left front, and being a front-wheel drive car, they say with a long green run like this, tires are just going off, and they're actually not surprised that he's fallen back. They feel the Mazdas are very strong on the long run, and they're worried about even further into the race now.
The Volkswagen's got more downforce.
More downforce. You
hit the rear anyway.
My mouth, Dorsey.
And he still keeps the cars behind him. Oh, boy.
Yeah, they can go right up in the trunk now. If they,
Some
holy
serious
moly.
downforce there.
Good look at the
Wonder if somebody
roll cage.
reached out there and just popped his trunk open. That's how close they've been the whole
Is that
time.
a movable aerodynamic device?
It is right now. I can't believe it's staying up like that, to be honest with you.
He's not going to be out there for long because you know that the officials will bring him in. That's Alex Alkberg in the 181.
It's only got one strut holding it up, too. That's amazing.
My hatchbacks, the struts always fail.
Yeah, you
Why is
can't
it they
get 'em.
never fail when you want them
Yeah,
to?
you can't get them to stay up when you want to put something in the trunk.
Gregory LaFouge leads, then Joel Miller in second, Ryan Eversley in third, and that pass by Joel Miller is perhaps the pass of the season that will change the complexion and hand the championship to Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamara. I say may, we still have 18 minutes to go, and anything can happen.
Well, I mean, with such a short lap, with so many cars still in this, I mean, if any of these front runners have a problem, get a punch or something like that, you just lose so many positions on the track that it can just turn this championship upside down in these final 18 minutes.
And Joel Miller has pulled away from Ryan Eversley and is now in pursuit of Gregory LaFouge.
Could be the front tire thing we were talking about before with the front tires going off.
Look at him close the gap.
Yeah, he's definitely fast. I think probably quickest on the racetrack right now.
He's a couple of tenths quicker than Gregory LaFouge on the last lap, but LaFouge has done a great job. He's really handled the lead of this race incredibly well, been very smart on the restarts, and just got that cushion, got the lead where he can just hit his marks. And it's all about rhythm. It's all about maintaining the momentum here at Lime Rock Park.
And remember, there's a manufacturer's driver champion, not just a driver's championship. So, you know, for that, for Joe Miller and Mazda, we talked to John Doonan earlier on in the deal. It's so important for the manufacturers to win these championships. That's how they go back to their board and say, I need X amount of dollars to go do this next year.
They need a lot of help, though, Doris, because Mazda's essentially had to sweep the podium or keep the BMW off the podium with a Mazda win. So they still need a lot of things to happen here in the final 17 minutes to jump ahead of the BMW camp.
Terry Borcheller in sixth, holding off Connor Bloom in the number 80, the Bimmer World entry, right behind him. He doesn't need to.
No, but
you said earlier he can let him go, but to some extent, this keeps Terry's concentration where it needs to be, and that's focus forward and keeping that Burton Racing number 23 BMW on track, literally, to a championship.
It's a lot easier to run it at a pace, you know, at a fast pace where you've got that rhythm going that Calvin and I talked about before, then back off that pace and get awkward with your turning points. Oh, and was that the
Billy
Bimmer
Johnson, I think.
No, it was the Bimmer World car that was out the outside.
It's Connor Bloom.
That was Connor Bloom.
Johnson's slowing, though. Johnson in the Compass 360 cars definitely lost some speed here.
See if he pulls in this lap.
So with Billy Johnson off pace in the 74,
Borcheller off on the downhill.
Then that moves Terry Borcheller even further forward.
Billy
Borcheller now fifth.
Johnson pulls in the pits with the slow car count, whatever happened there.
So Ryan Eversley loses a wingman. Billy Johnson
that was a
in
penalty.
the pits.
That looked like
so
a
slow
penalty.
up on the racetrack. Why? If you're serving a penalty, you want to carry the fastest lap you can back around. That's very odd.
Oh, yeah, they just sent him back out again.
But the thing that's
whatever it was.
important, Terry Borcheller now fifth, Ryan Eversley third. For Terry Borcheller, the car behind him right now does not matter. If he wants to let Connor Bloom go, he has even more of a cushion.
Yeah, he certainly does. We're looking at the 63 car there, Terry Borcheller right behind him. So things are looking Terry Borcheller's way, but for about 10 minutes ago, Dorsey, that's how it can change.
Yeah,
I mean, he needed that vital position to be in the position to clinch the championship. Now he's got a buffer zone.
What we saw with Billy Johnson with the Compass 360, they pushed, they told him to go through his pits, but he didn't go back on the racetrack, guys. He went behind the wall.
Behind the wall.
His day's done.
15 minutes to go.
15 minutes in the season. 15 minutes until a championship. Will it be for Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamara? They still have to negotiate 15 more laps in the 2013 Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series for Street Tuner. Stay with us. $750 seconds left in the 2013 season. And guys, we've all been fortunate enough to win championships before. 12 minutes left to go. Terry Borcheller's where he needs to be. It doesn't feel good yet, does it?
No, because there's 12 laps to go.
Exactly.
You know, most places 12 minutes not that much, but 12 laps is a different equation.
What's he hearing in the car?
You know, he's worried about what he's hearing in the car. You know, if it's going to make it. If, you know, you could get a punctured tire. Anything could happen around the Lime Rock.
You can deal with Connor Bloom behind you if he gets a little squirrely and takes you out.
Yeah, and
why are you doing it?
I don't get it. I mean, if I was Terry right now in this position with the track position he's got, you know, the team have kept him informed. We've been scanning their radios. Terry knows what position he's in and what he needs to do. So I would let this Bimmer World car go. Don't be threatened by getting taken out here. If you suddenly hit some traffic and the Bimmer World car of Connor Bloom's a little bit too close, you can't afford for that sort of thing to happen here. He's in prime position here to clinch this championship today. Don't take any risks at this point.
And a good finish here is more important to Connor Bloom than it is to Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamara. Mike Lamara and Terry Borcheller are racing for points.
Yeah, I mean, he could drop his RPM right now. He could stay off those curbs. He could lift where he goes over the, I heard him that time, go over the uphill, spun the engine up. You know, you could snap an axle when you land it. Right now, I'd be in preservation mode. Just let's get this last few laps out of the way and win this championship.
But just a minute ago, you told me drive your pace.
Don't
do anything different.
Right now, I'd wave him by right now.
I think he's going to
let him go.
No, he's not.
But, you know, you said drive your pace, stay focused, do what you've been doing. But
you got to stay, you know, where you're sharp and keen. But he could make it easier on the car right now. Just don't drive it quite as hard as you need to.
And I think what would concern me more than anything is when I look at the posture of the cars, Connor Bloom's is much more on edge. He's driving the car as hard as he possibly can. He's driving the car as hard as he possibly can. Terry Borcheller isn't. That tells me Connor Bloom just pushing a little harder than Terry Borcheller is right now, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, what decision is Terry going to make? Chris, what do you got?
Well, Terry's ultimately got to make that decision on the racetrack, but the team doing what they can down here in pit lane. Keith Burton just talking with one of the crew members from Bimmer World about Connor Bloom. So I think the team doing everything they can to remind everybody down here that they are in this for the championship, and it's going to benefit BMW for all. So I think we might be seeing Connor Bloom going by right now down in turn 1.
Yeah, this is the smart move. I mean, it was just getting too close for comfort for me, boys. I was getting nervous for the team. I mean, this would be a brilliant championship for this relatively new team to pull off, and you don't want to risk throwing it away. I mean, they've got a big margin in terms of car positions that they can afford to give up here. Just back off a little bit. Terry can still stay focused here. Just try and keep 3 or 4 car lengths behind Connor Bloom and bring it home.
Stay out of trouble. You know, just stay back there. Make it easier on your race car. It's tired too right now. The brakes are a little long. The tires are tired. You know, engine. Oh, and there's somebody's crashed up here. And this is part of what I'm talking about. There's the car.
It's the 198. One of the other RSR Hondas
behind the wheel.
And they got to run through that, hopefully not much debris there, but they have to run through some debris. You know, all it takes is a flat tire.
Oh, full course yellow.
Oh, goodness. And it's full course number 3. The biggest problem with full course number 3 is there's restart.
There is. And the cars that are behind Terry Borcheller, like Ian Boss and McCumbee, Mosing, they're all going to be right behind him on this restart. And he's going to be on his toes now.
Not going to be much time left. They're going to clean that track up there on top of the hill, get it cleaned up. And you're not going to have to worry about fuel now if there was before. Take a look what happened. Oh, man, that's not good.
That was
odd. Weird.
That was very odd. It looked like the car just turned right. It wasn't loose at the top of the hill.
No, but it could have done the same thing I was talking about before. It could have done an axle. It could have broke anything coming up over that hill where it spins, free spins for a minute, and it turns you right to the right, just like that car went.
Yeah, that was, because it didn't look like he dropped a wheel. We couldn't see any dust kicked up or anything like that. So
you snap a half shaft at full throttle, when that lands, it's going to pull you really hard right. Plus, it's already loaded on the left side, so it turns you that way anyway.
Yep.
8 minutes now to go, and under full course caution. This is not what Terry Borcheller wanted to see. Maybe this is why you don't let Connor Bloom go, because there's another position that he gave up. It's still undecided, but it will be decided when we come back. Waiting for the restart here. Hopefully our 3rd and final restart, because we're running out of time. Just 6.5 minutes, less than 6.5 minutes now left in the season. Terry Borcheller, Mike Lamara right on the cusp of a championship, but they're going to have to negotiate what I'm going to believe would be 3 laps, maybe a 3-lap dash to the checkered flag once we go back to green.
Well, 2 concerns for Terry Bourchier. Like, he could get leapfrogged, and the other question is, can Eversley get around Joel Miller or Gregory LaFouche to move up to second or ultimately win this motor race? So a lot on the line here today.
Let's check in with Darren.
Tyler, you guys have been in control most of this race. I'm sure you didn't want to see this yellow come out at the last minute. You've got maybe 3 laps left. Is the BMW good on the restart? And we've seen the Mazda come up in the last portion of the event here.
Yeah, this yellow is the last you want to see, but the BMW is really good on a restart, and the car's being really consistent the whole run. Greg hasn't complained at all. The MX-5 is in the back of our head. I mean, we're the heaviest car, so our tires are probably more worn out than theirs, but I definitely think Greg can pull it off and get us a win.
All right, they're doing everything they can for the championship. Chris?
Darren, we've had 11 rounds of racing, close to 35 hours of racing. It's going to come down to a 3-lap shootout. Mike, how are you doing right now?
Oh, I'm just praying. It's a real nail biter. I mean, the 75's running great. We're just behind him. We've had our challenges, and I have the right guy in the car, my teammate Terry, so I'm optimistic.
Is the team giving him good information right now, what he needs to do to close out this championship?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We've been working on it, since Laguna, and we have every possible scenario, and they're giving him the information, and we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, everybody's on pins and needles down here at the 23.
Well, we heard on the radio a minute ago Terry Bourchier talking to his crew, and Terry said, I'm not happy with what happened. It sounds to me like they had made the deal for Connor Bloom to stay behind him, but Bloom, with the move into 1 that last time by, took the position, 4.5 minutes to go. More like 4, maybe 5 laps here when they get the green. Safety car is in, green is out. Here we go.
Watch Eversley trying to get a run. He's the 4th car in line. He's 3rd in terms of the track position, but let's see what happens here. He's got to get around Joel Miller here.
LaFouche protecting down into turn 1. Joel Miller going to try the outside. That's how he got around Ryan Eversley.
Look at this. He's going to make it.
Boy, what a move. He's done it before.
And a little contact.
He got him a little loose.
Beautiful move there by Joel Miller. There's Eversley to the inside. He gets that 3rd spot on the track and 3rd position in this race, of course. Where is Bourchier? He's in the thick of it.
Bourchier right behind Bloom. Joel Miller takes over the lead. But for our championship protagonist, nothing has changed there yet.
That was an incredible 2nd time passer on the outside. These guys are all dropping wheels off and going through a dirty part of the racetrack right now. Bourchier's just got to remain calm, which is easy for us to say in the booth. But he's in the middle of a war.
I don't know how you're calm. I'm nervous about what's going on. Miller, LaFouche, then Ryan Eversley, Terry Bourchier right behind Connor Bloom, but just behind him, Chad McCumbee in another one of the Mazda MX-5s.
About 3 more laps and things are going to get pretty frantic here.
Steve McAleer looking down the inside of Ryan Eversley, trying to get that podium spot away from him. Everyone's stacked together here. Terry Bourchier can see his closest contender in the championship. That's Eversley. He's really running out of grip here.
McAleer slid to the inside.
Yeah, front tires are gone on the 75 guy. He's really struggling here to keep the grip and keep the position.
For Ryan Eversley and Compass 360, they have fought so hard, but it looks like
he's trapped to the outside now.
The green flag running that we've had here has taken its toll on the front tires of the 75, and now Terry Bourchier right there behind him.
Eversley. He's in trouble out there.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. He's got 0 grip.
Yeah,
zero grip.
Pushed right out the outside. He couldn't defend against anything there. Just trying to hold on and not crash.
And right now, it's Ryan Eversley right behind Terry Bourchier. You ride on board the number 25, Tom Long.
Tom just touched him, not on purpose.
We saw the 25 car have some braking issues earlier in this race with Derek Whitus behind the wheel.
Across the line, Bourchier, the championship belongs to he and Mike Lamara if they can hold on for probably 2, maybe 3 more laps, because it was just over 2 minutes. It depends on the lap times that they run. It's probably going to be 3.
Yep. And Eversley just gave it everything, but you can see he's just fading here in the late going. Just didn't have the tires underneath him.
And now the wind out of his sails. I'm sure he's going to continue to push as hard as he can, but he knows what he doesn't have, and that's enough tire on the front of that Honda Civic. But for Joel Miller, he's looking to take his first win in a Freedom Autosport Mazda MX-5 here at Lime Rock in the final round. LaFouche holding on. But as we tick off lap by lap, the championship comes nearer and nearer for Terry Bourchier and Mike Lamara. Miller leads again at the line.
Yeah, but LaFouche putting some pressure on. I think he's going to try down the inside. It's not going to happen.
He's got some speed, and now he's got into a rhythm again. I think he's got a bit more speed than Joel Miller. Joel Miller just took advantage of that restart. The car was really quick through this first section of the lap, and he made it stick. But Gregory LaFouche does not want to give this win away, and he's got nothing to lose at this point. He'll be told that Borcheller's in good shape, so just go for the race win right now. Forget about points.
Yeah, the manufacturers, everybody knows where they are right now. It's down to who's going to win this race from this, Joel Miller or Greg LaFouche. I'm sure LaFouche isn't happy about that restart.
He's got to focus on that downhill run, get through that last corner and get the run down the straightaway. I think down into the brake zone for turn 1, he may have an opportunity. He's got to get a good run through here, through West Bend, and be close enough through this downhill and time it.
I don't think he's got enough. It all depends on this corner.
Gregory LaFouche, his teammate Tyler Cook looking for win number 2 on the season. He gets a run.
Here he comes. Joel Miller knows he's got some speed. He defends that inside lane.
Looking for a draft off the smaller MX-5 as the white flag waves. Last lap here at Lime Rock. Neither one of these drivers has anything to lose up front. It's all about pride and taking a race victory in the final round of the season.
For LaFouche, it's just stay close. Stay just like he is right now. He's got that top-end speed. If he can carry it down all through this lap.
Miller's really good through here. I think the gear ratios on that Mazda are really well suited to that part of the racetrack as well.
Mike Lamara with his eyes closed, I'm sure, in a bit of a prayer, perhaps, holding on. Terry Borcheller 5th the last time by, and for Joel Miller through the uphill for the last time, less than half a mile to go to the checkered flag for his first victory here in the street tuner category in 2013. What does Greg LaFouche have as they come through the downhill? It'll be a run to the line. You hear him say, come on, come on, come on. Joel Miller takes the victory at Lime Rock Park, and you look back down the racetrack for Terry Borcheller looking to the line. Terry Borcheller, Mike Lamara will take the championship in the street tuner category for the 2013 Continental Tire Sports Car Series. And Mike Lamara, hugs from the team. You can breathe now, guys. I think they've been holding their breath for the last hour and a half. Spectacular stuff. BMW will also clinch the Manufacturers Championship, their 8th in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge.
Terry Borcheller knows how to win championships. So I got to tell you, when we talked to him, this was not an easy one. This one
was
he
a
had to
tough
fight.
one, Dorsey. Really tough race. He was just put in such a predicament there for a while. About 30 minutes of that motor race, he was really caught in a position that was tough to deal with, but he used every ounce of experience that he has and brought it home.
Mazda will celebrate the victory, but Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamara will celebrate the championship for 2013. We'll be back to the champagne and celebration. Well, the 2013 championship is in the books, and it came down to the wire just like we knew that it would. Spectacular racing in the ST category of the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge Series from here at Lime Rock. It was close, it was tight, it was awesome, and Darren Law is with our winners.
Joel, Tristan, hey, you guys brought home a great victory. That was a hard-fought fight. Tell us about that final pass after the... Whoa! I avoided that one. All right, I know it's cold. Tell us about that pass on the restart.
The guys were telling me how fast I needed to go. You know, we came here today to win the Manufacturers Championship for Mazda. We came away with the victory thanks to Visit Florida and everybody from Mazda, Freedom Autosport for having us. This is my second start, Tristan's first start in this car. What a great day. It was a push, push, push all the way to the end. Our Continental tires ran great. Big thanks to Mazda. Big thanks to everybody at Freedom Autosport.
Tristan, great opening stint. That's a great victory for Mazda.
No, I mean, it feels good. I mean, being in the Freedom Autosport car, we're in the Visit Florida suit. It can't get any better than that. I mean, we came into this race trying to help Mazda win the Manufacturers Championship, and that was our main goal. So just glad we can come out with a win.
All right, great job, guys. Now over to the champions. Chris?
Yeah, Terry Borcheller and Mike Lamar receiving their championship trophy for 2013. Big hugs around here. Terry Borcheller giving Steve Donnan a big pat on the chest for that BMW power. And Terry, what a great race. An hour and a half there. You had to work that car up into contention for the win, and everybody was taking swings at you.
Yeah, it was a rough race. I mean, it was probably one of the rougher ones that I've had, and I've been in some championship battles over the years, and that was a real tough one. There was a lot of swinging going on, a lot of bumping and banging, and I'm really thankful for Grand Am to take the 77 car in for a stop and go. He was playing some dirty pool, and it was making it really, really tough. Vesco is probably one of the hardest guys in this field to pass. I respect him on one hand, but on the other hand, he was really making that Nissan wide, and it was getting frustrating because I could see the lead pack going away, and I knew where we had to finish. So it was a hard-fought battle. Mike had a lot of pressure on him for his second year in racing. How about it?
Yeah, Mike, that's just absolutely incredible. Just a couple years ago, you decided you want to get involved in racing. You sat down with Terry Borchler, and you guys said, we're going to go out and win a championship. You surprised it came together so quick?
Yeah, praise God. It's unreal. I can't believe it. We just have a great team of guys and gal, and it's just been amazing. Keith's worked so hard. I mean, everyone works hard out here, but it's been unreal. And Terry, what do you say?
Some big hugs and kisses down here. Nice to finally see a smile on Keith Burton's face. He's been looking at me all day like, get away. Congratulations, guys.
And you can just see the emotion and the release on those guys. It's over with. The championship is theirs. 9 points, and 9 points looks like a lot after some of the points that we've seen over the last couple of races, but man, it was close throughout the day.
Looks like the point spread of the first race of the year is what it looks like, not the last race of the year. That's fantastic racing this year.
Yeah, congratulations to the champions, but all of the boys on that page did a great job this year. They have to be proud of that.
Absolutely. Let's head back down to Darren.
Greg LaFouge, you and Tyler had a great run. You dominated that race, and I'm sure you weren't wanting that yellow flag to come out. What happened in the end there?
No, definitely. You know, when I saw that bumper on the race course, you know, I definitely knew there was going to be a full course yellow, and I saw that MX-5 coming pretty fast, so I kind of saved a little bit of my tires, and right at the end, he just passed me on the outside, and you know, even though the Continental tires were doing a great job, we still are 500 pounds heavier, so they couldn't hold the outside. I gave it all I had, but still keeping in mind that we were protecting our third place to the championship. So, you know, pretty happy with the day overall. Good season. Tyler did a great job on the opening stint, so couldn't be more happy.
Well, guys, they did everything they could. They almost had that thing won. Over to you, Chris.
Well, Kyle Gempel and Ryan Eversley finished second in this championship. And Ryan, you had the car up where you needed to be most of the day, but it just kind of slipped out of your hands at the end.
You know, we gotta thank all the guys at Compass 360 for keeping us in the hunt all year. We had a couple of penalties early in the season that hurt us. We got taken out at Elkhart Lake, and that hurt us. Nothing we could do about it. But we stayed in the hunt all the way, and we got to battle with Terry and Mike, and those guys are awesome. So for us, it's an honor. Just, you know, needed a little bit more grip, but proud to be the only Honda in the top 3 and also the only front-wheel drive car, I think, in the top 5. So for us, we're really stoked about it. I just wanted to say thanks to Continental Tire, Honda, HPD, the Children's Tumor Foundation, everybody that keeps us here. I mean, it's just been a tremendous year, and Kyle Gempel did an awesome job starting all the races. It was tremendous.
Yeah, tremendous year, tremendous championship. So good to see it come down to the last race and a couple lap shootout, Darren.
Connor Bloom and Greg, you guys had a great run. You brought the 80 car home on the podium. Tell us about the finish there after the restart.
It was a pretty intense race. I had to just get past Terry there to get the podium, and I just want to say thanks to Continental Tire for making such a great tire. It was very consistent throughout the whole race, and it's a good one.
All right, guys, back to you.
Well, I mean, I look at the way this championship played out, and the way it changed back and forth throughout the day. It's exactly what we expected to see. What a great place to finish the championship, because that's the kind of racing that Lime Rock Park really breeds.
Well, it was a nail-biter. I mean, all of the crews had to be on their toes and keeping their drivers informed as to what the current scenario was, and it was changing by the lap, by the moment. And congratulations to Terry. I mean, he really deserves it. He didn't want to get out of the Rolex Series as early as he did, but he's bounced back, found a really good home with Burton Racing. He's brought Mike Lamar on, and they've clinched a championship. And that's not easy to do, Dorsey, because the competition level in this Conti Series is unbelievable.
It is. I mean, 6 teams came in here today knowing what they had to do to win this championship. They ended the 2013 season swinging. I mean, everybody's swinging for home runs, and, you know, it was a really good ending to a really good year.
Well, yeah, and you look back at the different winners that we had. The Manufacturers Championship was close. The Team Championship was close. Obviously, the Drivers Championship was close. And I think it really speaks for what the officials have built as far as this Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge goes. The rules seem to be pretty good. You see cars that have an advantage in some places and others with advantage in other places.
And that's what it's all about. I mean, keeping an even playing field. All of the manufacturers want to come and play here because if you win, you've really achieved something.
And for Terry Borchler and Mike Lamara, what they achieved was the ST Championship for 2013 and the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. For Calvin Fish, Dorsey Schrader, Chris Neville, Darren Law, I'm Brian Till. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, there's a Grand Sport Championship up for grabs as well. We'll see you then.